So, Kev, we got real NFL football yesterday.
Yeah, I watched it.
That's your reaction to that game last night? Just I watched it.
I mean, the game
You
kind
have
of sucked.
you have Isaiah Likely literally half a shoe size too big, making them lose that game. Right? Not his
Oh, you're
fault.
talking about the Ravens Chiefs game.
We had actual football last night.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Packers Eagles. That game sucked.
Oh yeah, that game totally sucked. If you watched it, I'm sorry you had to deal with it. Total blowout. Not gonna say
You
who
meant
did it.
2 nights ago.
Yeah, that's right. We're recording on a Saturday.
No,
What
the
if
game
that
was
game ends
close.
up being? No, I thought it was. Are you kidding me? Oh no, that was garbage time. It got close because of garbage time, dude.
Being too specific.
Oh, I'm going straight for no. Obviously, we did not. It's the game hasn't started yet. Going back to the game yesterday, though, I do recall asking you like, "Hey, aren't like I was stoked for NFL football, and you were more excited for this game tonight." So yesterday's game definitely had to have lived up.
Oh yeah, it surpassed. It's not even that. I don't even know if it's that How do I?
I want to ask, like, why KC Ravens? Like, why would you not be stoked for that game?
I think I don't care about the Ravens. Is that right? I don't know.
They are. How do I put this? They're definitely a team that I feel very lukewarm about when it comes to fandom in any way, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I have a strong opinion one way, or like the Cowboys, for instance. As much as I try to stay unemotional about everything that I talk about, obviously I look at the Cowboys, I'm like, goddamn Jerry Jones, like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I look at the Ravens and it's just like they're like white bread. They just perfect exactly how it is. You know,
every team gives some sort of visceral reaction, I think, and I think mine on the Ravens is negative. I like them more than I like the fucking Steelers, and this iteration of the Browns, I like them more than the Browns. So I guess they're my second favorite AFC North team. But I just think they've always been a little boring to me. I don't know.
That's what I was trying to go out with white bread. Is like, it's very plain, right? So white bread's plain. It's perfect, but it's plain.
Even with Lamar, like objectively, like one of the most exciting players in NFL history. It's kind of like when the Spurs like added Kawhi Leonard, and it's like, oh, they have this like really cool like guy who does stuff now. And it's like, yeah, but it's still the Spurs. I don't want to watch the Spurs.
So we're calling Kawhi Leonard cool.
When Kawhi Leonard was young, he was like a cool, like young, exciting player.
Yeah.
Contrasting, the old Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili. I was like, yeah, it's just the Spurs. They're boring. Then they added this like inflection to like super young, one of the best players in the NBA, but it was still like, yeah, but it's the Spurs. I don't care. When like objectively they were being exciting. I think the same thing's going on in my head. Where it's like Ravens are not boring. They have Lamar Jackson, but it's like they've been boring my entire life. The Ravens are boring.
You know exactly what to expect a lot of times. However, yesterday actually it's funny because you know exactly what to expect. Everyone looks at their offensive line and they're like, well, they're missing pieces, obviously. But we should trust the Ravens to be able to handle that. And this comes back to it is like in the beginning, the offensive line looked pretty bad. By the end of the game, honestly, it looked like it picked up. They like picked it up pretty well. And it goes back to like they're just an organization where it's like you know what to expect every single time, and it's nothing that's going to throw you for a loop. So I get it. I can see why that's not exciting. Because again, white bread isn't exciting. However, it's still damn good on a PB and like it makes a damn good PB and J. So,
what was I gonna say? Sometimes Collinsworth really gets on a heater in games. I know people generally don't like Collinsworth, but when he was describing that final Ravens drive of like, okay, now it's been 4 plays. Now Chris Jones is going to be a little winded here. That was like so good. I thought that's not something I would have ever thought of.
He has his moments. He has his moments both ways though. So like I know a lot of people get mad.
Of course he has them in the other way, but like sometimes he'll say something. It's like, damn, I actually learned something. I don't learn anything from announcers. That's why I think Greg Olson's a little overrated. Is he just says a bunch of stuff I already know that I agree with, and I'm glad that he's preaching a little bit to the analytic choir. He doesn't say anything I don't already know. Collinsworth, that made me think about that game in a different way than I was thinking about it, and he was right.
So I think
I gotta give it up to Collinsworth a little bit sometimes.
It goes back to where when you have such big negatives, right? You look at that person, you're gonna judge that person based off those negatives. So when they have the positives, you don't even notice it. It's actually for anybody who might be listening. I'm hypercritical of myself when I say something stupid, right? Like I was talking to you, I was really upset at myself for instance, mixing up Raheem Mostert and man, and this is where I'm gonna jack it up. But this is my name thing. My name recall sucks ass.
Oh God, you've already screwed up the screw up. Raheem Morris and D'Amico Ryans.
Did I say Mostert? Jesus. It's been a long week. So yeah, I come away from that last podcast. I'm like incredibly critical of myself because I know that as listeners, you hear that and you're like, okay, this guy's kind of an idiot. But when you try to do things live, and that's where I give Collinsworth some credit, right? When you're like, we don't edit our stuff, we just record and go. Nothing in comparison to the pressure that you must have trying to come up and fill air live on a broadcast. So I get why Collinsworth has those moments, having kind of experienced them myself, and now being a little bit more like lenient towards others when I listen to people, and I'm like, that's wrong. You're trying to recall right at the moment, not easy. But that's why he gets so much crap, dude. It's you hear him slobbing on like Aaron Rodgers, you hear him slobbing on Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, okay, cool. I don't want to take this guy seriously anymore. So then when he says something smart, it's like,
And he's a little annoying. His vocal tics are annoying, but like, yeah, that was just a good observation I thought last night. And takeaways from that game to the extent that we care about the Ravens or the Chiefs. I mean, nothing's backing either of us off the fact that the Chiefs should have been the number one pick on our wins draft. They're awesome. And I mean, Hollywood Brown didn't even play. Another weapon on that offense is really going to be another vertical threat. Bro, everything's open. Everything's open underneath. Everything was open underneath because they were so scared of Xavier Worthy. And Xavier Worthy, as good as his production was, is not that scary. He had like an actual established NFL receiver.
Andy Reid was also in his bag, dude. Like there's that one play where I'm sure a bunch of people saw it when they were in bunches, and they basically put Roquan in conflict. It's like, what do you do there as a defender? You have no right option. You've got a shallow crosser and a deep crosser right behind you.
Just have a much different play call than that.
And it's coming off the condensed bunch trip side, so it's like everything's confusing as everybody's coming off of each other as they're crossing through. It's like Andy Reid was in his bag trying to.
It was one I sent you. It wasn't that interesting, but I sent it to you in real time just because I was like, huh. They lined up Noah Gray in the slot. They motioned him into the backfield and then had him lead block on a counter run. I was like, damn, this is still just coming up with all this crazy stuff. I've never seen a slot receiver basically motion into a lead blocker on a counter. Like that was just damn. And then he did it again later that I didn't pick it up, I guess.
There was at one point when I was watching with one of my friends, and he's like, "Why are they running these swings?" Like, or essentially, you'd see Patrick Mahomes quickly throw it to the swing pass. It was almost as if it's planned to go there, right? And he's like, "This seems basic." I looked at him like, "Trust me, he's probably setting something up here. You're gonna have plays that you're burning, right, to set something up later." There's another play. I think it was either in the third or fourth quarter. I've got to look it up. Where you start to see the halfback does a short motion. And as he's doing it, the defender's flying across. It was a tight end screen. Essentially, you got the chipper. So I can't remember who it was exactly. It was probably Kelsey. Is chipping off the edge. The edge rusher is basically getting ready to jump up, and he's running wide, getting ready to deflect whatever swing pass that comes out because of the quick motion that they had from the running back. And as that happens, you have the defender in the middle of the field going out wide. You have the edge rusher also going out wide because of the swing pass, and you hit him right there with the tight end screen in the middle, completely wide open. Goes for like 15. And so I sent him that play. I'm like, this is why you set that up. Watch this. Watch everything that's going on there. Andy Reid was in his bag from play designs to even setting up plays later down the road. It was awesome.
Fuck the Shanahans. Reid is still my goat.
But on that note, there's really not much we can take away from 1 week.
This was so there's a lot of stuff that people have been talking about the Ravens, and I say I don't care about any of it really. I don't think anything was learned from like a pretty good team, given it emptying out the entire bag of tricks that they have to their disposal to try to beat the team that just beat them in the championship game last year. Like, I don't know. I don't.
I can't pull anything from there.
A lot of stuff I might worry about. A lot of stuff that I think is going to be fine. I think Lamar played like relatively like shit until the end, and then the end I think is a little overrated. You know, the missing Flowers, but
that's a hard pass when you're. That is a very hard pass when you're stepping up in the pocket that quickly, and then all of a sudden you're unleashing one.
When people try to say it was inaccurate, like no, like use common sense. Like something happened other than inaccuracy. Like come on.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly what it was. He expected him to do something, and he did something else.
It's a difficult pass just to get off, to be honest with you, and he did seem a little skittish, but I have a feeling that had to do with the offensive line play in the beginning, but I'm not worried. We're not a Ravens and Chiefs podcast, though.
No, we're barely a Bears podcast, so I do want to say, do you got any bets for the game in Brazil?
I did actually really quickly, not just on this game, but I did put in a NFC North parlay. I didn't take all money line. I think I took all money lines on one of them actually, and then on another one I took the spread, but I what's it called? I forget that term. I basically bought points on all of them. So I took all four, bought the points. I think I bought 7 points on all of them. I got with the 4 games like plus 250 or something like that.
Oh, a teaser.
Thank you. I did the teaser on all 4 with 7 points, got them at like plus 250, and I feel pretty confident with that because at that point, you know, you got the Packers as like a 3.5 point underdog with that teaser. So
you got the Bears at like plus 3?
Yeah, basically.
All right. I just put 2 units on the Packers money line. I think the Eagles are not going to be very good this year. I think the Packers are going to be very good. And I think no matter what happens in this game, I'm going to stand by that opinion.
Yeah, I am concerned about the Eagles, but we'll find out tonight. I think this is going to be a great test. I do think the Packers are going to be very good. I'm with you there. And I think our wins draft showed that. I feel they're. Do you have any bets? Do you have any bets that you're looking forward to? Anything that you feel like is going to hit?
I haven't done my Sundays really yet.
For tonight? How about that?
I've only done the Packers money line. I think I did an anytime touchdown score. Who the hell did I say? I don't know. Maybe I didn't do that yet. I don't know. Who do we like for anytime touchdown score? What am I doing there?
I was going to AJ Brown or Jalen Hurts. Were my 2. I'm not ready to trust Saquon yet. And after what we saw from Derrick Henry, I feel like all the injuries that both of those running backs have taken.
You know what? I think given the odds, I might go with your boy Christian Watson.
I think with those, I was going if I was going Packers, I was going Jaden Reed and Christian Watson is probably a good one.
Jacobs kind of a layup where I'm not gonna risk what it'll take to get him. So I think Christian Watson's a nice little middle ground. I'm gonna go Christian Watson.
I'm so biased when it comes to Josh Jacobs. I haven't liked him in the league at all. He had that one like really good year. That was.
I don't think I really don't think it matters. I think he's just the Packers running back, and
so when we had the draft, Sophia was like, I recommended her grabbing Josh Jacobs, and she's like, "What, Josh Jacobs? You don't like him at all?" I'm like, "It's Matt LaFleur's offense. He's gonna still get the ball a whole bunch." So I say that, but it's what I'm really trying to say is I'm biased towards betting, but I know he's gonna be fine. I do have a wild parlay where I took AJ Brown 70 plus, Jalen Hurts 40 plus rushing, Dontavian Wicks 25 plus, and Jaden Reed 50 plus all yards. So receiving, and then rushing for Jalen Hurts.
I don't know. Like I said yesterday, you've had a shamrock up your ass for the last week, so I'm not going to doubt you on any of these until you hit a slump.
Yeah. I don't think I've taken anything straight for this game.
The only other thing is I just want to say I'm a little excited to see how the Packers receiver rotation plays out because I got Wicks. I think we both have Wicks in basically every league that matters, and I got Jaden Reed. I'm going to start him tonight because T. Higgins is hurt.
Yeah, I think we're both fading Dobbs, and then You're higher on Christian Watson as more of like a weapon than I am, and that honestly is my own bias from my drafting.
I'm not really anything. I just know he's going to play.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if we're right or not. On that note, we've got a game for our own team coming up on Sunday. First game of the season. How on a scale of 1 to screaming your damn head off, everything's on fire because of the excitement that you feel. I don't freaking know. I couldn't think of shit. How excited do you feel right now, Kev?
Well, it's a Bears podcast, and I'm specifically, taking time out of my Friday to talk about the Bears. So obviously the answer is like 5. I don't know.
It's a 2. I mean, it's chill. I don't care.
It actually is. It truly is about 5 because. So this is what I want to bring up. So we're going to preview the game a little bit. We're not going to go crazy with X's and O's. It's not really what we're.
No. I don't know anything about the Titans anyway. At this point,
once
it's a new coaching staff.
Once there has been a game that has already happened going forward, I'm gonna have fun talking about the previous game. Actually, I'll probably hate talking about the previous game often. I'm gonna do it anyway, and then talk about the next game with some data on the team. This is opening day. We don't have a lot to talk about. But when is the last time that the Bears' first game of the season, after you watched the game, you were like, I'm happy about this. Win or loss.
The first
it's kind of hard for me to get too pumped, even with all the nice stuff going on around the Bears right now. It's like,
I mean, I know a lot of people thought the 49ers game last year, 2 years ago. It would be 2 years ago.
So that was the last win. They've lost.
I didn't care about that though. Right?
There was nothing really to read into. It was cool, but there was certainly nothing to take away. It was not.
Right. We had a
real football game.
Right. We had a massive monsoon that basically nullified their defensive line because they can't make any moves, encounters off of that. So let me just set. Okay, you're going this way. I'm going to set that way. Right. Made our offensive line look a lot better. On top of that, like it was so much luck. And then you've got Trey Lance, etc. I looked at that game. I'm like, I don't know why we're so stoked, guys. This feels fake. So no, I can't remember a single game I came out of and I was like, week 1, like, oh yeah, this super, like, this is good. This is great. I do feel like this will be the week though.
Well, so I have an answer to that. Shoot. I guess there's 2 possible answers. There's either 2010 when they beat. Shoot, I'm forgetting the Falcons. I want to say they beat the Falcons, and I wasn't expecting a lot out of that team. I think they beat the Falcons opening game of 2010, but that team ended up being really good. I had very low hopes for the 2010 Bears. No, 2011. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say 2010 was the Lions. The Falcons were 2011.
Yeah, so that was exciting. That's truly the last time that an opening game has like led me to think like, maybe they're kind of good. Before that would be 2009 against the Colts. Massive upset. Matt Forte's first game as a Bear was awesome. And then, but truly the one where it was like, okay, this confirms that the Bears are as awesome as I think they are, would be 2006, beat the Packers like 26-3, the biggest beatdown Brett Favre ever had. This is all stuff 13 years ago. I cannot think of another one, and I can think of many times where I was excited and let way down. Number one being even the 2018 Bears. Remember that game, Khalil Mack's first game. My heart was completely ripped out. Ultimately, it didn't matter, but like, I was.
So you're talking about 2018?
A shell of myself. But did it? That's what I'm saying. Is like I thought the Bears might be good in 2018. I was right; they were good. But after that first game, if you recall, Rodgers came back at halftime and led them.
Well, that was the 8th. That was when he hurt his knee, right?
Yeah. That sucked. Like even that game sucked. In that good season, that game sucked. I was really, really sad about that. I think 2 years later, Nick Foles. That was week 2. I don't know. I think something good happened in 2020. They made the playoffs.
I just remember 2019 coming in with so much excitement, and us just not being able to move the ball at all against the Packers.
Lost 10-3
10 to
against the
3.
Packers, something like that.
Yep, and that was a point, that was an awakening for me as a fan, because that was when I sat back and I said, I need to start listening to people who tell me, hey guys, like, we don't agree with the fandom, right? Like the PFFs of the world telling us Trubisky sucked. The Stephen Ruiz's of the world saying Justin Fields might not be that good, right? That's about the time that I said I'm putting my fandom aside. I gotta stop being super emotional about this when I see those takes. They're not dumb. They have reasons for saying them. That shit hurt. I was hyped. I was listening to every piece of Bears content going in that year. But I feel like I still want to keep saying I feel like this year is going to be different. I don't know why. So I guess where are you going with this? Why are we reliving all this pain?
Well, you asked me where I am on a scale from 1 to 10, and I think that's good context to show that I have not been happy following an opening day Bears game in I think 13 years. So every bit of excitement that I have is tempered by the fact that the expectations are super high. If they win and look great, it's not going to do that much because they should win.
It depends on how they look great. If they win and look great because the offense is moving, I think that does a ton. That inspires a ton of confidence in me, because it's not like, so I think you and I both agree that Caleb is what we think he is, right? And we're fairly confident about that. But if we get to see it right out the gate, and I know he's going to have some games that are bad, but if we get to see it right out the gate, that's gonna mean something to me. I think that's gonna mean a lot.
I guess whatever it is, whatever it could possibly be, is way outweighed by the dread that I'll feel, and not even necessarily being worried about what it means if they look bad, because I'm pretty prepared for it. But like, as much as I filter out the bullshit that you fail to filter out for yourself, I'm still aware of it, and it makes me feel bad, and I don't want to deal with that. So yeah, I'm like a 5. I'm like, of course I'm happy that I'm going to see Caleb Williams play his first game as a Bear, but like, God, I'm nervous.
You know what's funny is I'm also a 5, but not for the same reason. I think I told you the other day. I've had my itch has been scratched with how good some of the games we've had recently from like college football, especially week 0. Oh my god. Those last 2 games on week 0 were fantastic. Or actually it wasn't, because Hawaii played at like midnight. The middle 2 games were phenomenal. And then on top of that, I enjoyed Colorado and DSU a ton. Last night's game was great. I feel like I've gotten my football bit in, so while I'm excited to see Caleb, I'm like, oh man, like I'm living in like I'm getting everything that I want, so I'm like happy and content, because there isn't a moment for me sitting there itching for football and itching for action, because I'm basically getting it.
Texas, Michigan tomorrow. Now that's a game.
Oh, I've got Jaden Blue 2+ touchdown straight on that.
I'm zigging. I'm going just because of the line and everything. I'm going Michigan on that. By the way,
I just don't feel.
I don't think it's correct, but the lines they've gotten too generous towards Texas, and I do not like Quinn Ewers. So like, I mean, am I going to stay? I'm going to take them by more than a touchdown. I'm not going to do that.
I don't either, but I love Sarkisian. So like, it's like, I don't like Brock Purdy, right? Oh, actually, I'm fine with Brock Purdy. I don't like Jimmy G when he was on the Niners, right? But I like the Niners offense. And that's how I see Sarkisian. Like, Steve Sarkisian's.
Well, I mean, Texas is going to make the playoff. Like, I'm not worried about Texas as a whole with Ewers. But this specific game, I'm like, I can't be discounting Michigan this much. I don't know for sure that they're dead.
I can though, man. They lost so much talent. They lost a ton of talent. They lost Purba. It's
You're
hard
probably right. You're probably right. It's just it's like 7.5 or 8.5 now. I think it's like that's a little too much.
That's fair. That's fair.
I gotta bet on the game. I gotta bet on the game because it's like it's too good of a game. I'm gonna watch the game, and usually I'm good at college football betting. So I gotta zag. I gotta zag. I think.
All right, so you're not gonna take the 2+ touchdown
for running back. No,
yep.
Probably not.
All right.
That defense: Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Will Johnson. Don't want to discount that defense.
I'm going to
probably more talented than last year.
Maybe. Hold on, I'm trying to pull something up. Give me a second because I'm trying to remember exactly what happened last week. I mean,
way off topic, but damn that.
Yeah, hey, let's bring it back. I am too. I'm stoked for this week of college football. But that's where I'm going into. Is like, I'm excited to watch Caleb, and I'm excited for the Bears, absolutely. But I'm not like I feel like I'm not itching for it because I've got so much coming up. There's just so much football content that I can consume. Finally. Whereas like if you asked me a month ago, dying for it, absolutely dying because there's nothing. So I will say I'm at a 5-2, not for the same reasons. I'm not worried. Like even if it's bad, I'm not going to take anything away from that game. It is like the historically first number 1 overall pick rookie quarterbacks. Blues like they've not won a single week 1 game.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring that up. There have been 3 in the history of the NFL number 1 overall picks to win week 1.
Yeah, I think the stat that I came up with only goes back to like 2000 or something like that. Who were the 3?
The last one was 2002, David Carr.
Yeah.
Pre shell shocking, I guess he was able to take down the Cowboys. Before that was John Elway in either 83 or I don't know if 83 or 84 was his rookie season. I know 83 was when he was drafted, but I forget if his holdout demand to trade made it so 84 was. I don't know. But Elway. And before that, Jim Plunkett, who you probably are not aware, but he's the best way I could describe him is like Alex Smith's career. If Alex Smith then went on to win 2 Super Bowls when he became good.
I'm aware of Jim Plunkett, like at a high level. Yeah.
So when he won, he was bad. When he won as a rookie, that was the start of several years of being a bad quarterback.
Like Alex Smith was for several years. I gotcha.
So yeah, quarterbacks that have not won in week 1 would include Kyler Murray, who tied, Andrew Luck, who went on to win his division anyway, which I think is going to be relevant to what I'm prepared to happen here. So Andrew Luck, Cam Newton didn't win. Joe Burrow did not win. I think it's kind of selection bias because like a lot of these guys didn't start their first game, and even more so, their team sucks. That's why they picked first.
Right. That's actually where it's going to go to next. Is with that stat though, we have to remember we weren't the number 1 pick team.
Yeah,
the Panthers were, right? We were a 7-win team last year. That still was the 9th pick, that bottom 10 team in the NFL, but did not look like a bottom 10 team coming out of the end of the season. In fact, I think we made some bottom 10 teams look really bad towards it, which doesn't say I'm not trying to get super excited about anything we saw at the end of the last season. It does say we're not in that. We shouldn't have been the 9th pick, I believe. Maybe like 13th, 14th.
We made a top 5 team look really bad. That was great. Twice we did.
Well, yeah. Top 3 team to some people this year. Should have won both games too. So I don't know how much I'm buying into that. I wanted to bring up basically because I feel like I wouldn't worry too much. A lot of selection bias, absolutely. Also because of that reason too. Like, hey, what are you coming into? What team do you have?
I do think the history is a little instructive though. So like CJ Stroud, I believe got killed at 21-10, not killed, but like he looked like ass against, I believe, the Ravens last year. And CJ Stroud ended up being very good. And that team ended up being quite good.
It was the Ravens for your first game. Throwing it out there. Like,
sure, but I do think it's instructive. Like, the history's silly and skewed a little bit, and also like, I don't know, the examples of guys that did do it were just random guys, and also John Elway.
right. And I guess I should add to your point. Go on.
I haven't made the point yet. Point being, the expectations should be low, even for the best quarterback, even for the best of rookie quarterbacks. This is his first NFL game. It is going to be a lot.
So I want to add to that, and a lot of times too, I think I've seen obviously you stay out of the smut that can be Bears Twitter at times. Like, I don't think you dealt with the Caleb Justin Fields war the way that I saw it.
The muck. Yes, the muck.
I like the word smut better.
Smut, I think, implies there's some porno going on, which I hope there's.
There's some people had some weird ass kinks. That's what I'll say. They got off to some of this shit, I felt like.
Yeah, some of those links actually. All right, I'm in.
So what I was saying was there are a lot of, like, say, people who were on the other side of the argument that want him to get us to the playoffs right away, which, I mean, I'm pretty hopeful. I feel like we could, but the thing that people need to understand is the reason why rookie quarterbacks, like, it takes a couple of years for quarterbacks to really start to hit their stride isn't just learning the offense. It's also getting a Rolodex on defenses, right? I mean, I really like the fact that Flus was hitting him with a lot of looks throughout camp. I don't know how many rookie quarterbacks get to see that. Hopefully that jump starts a little bit of it, but you don't understand all the different types of coverage schemes, all the different types of teams run different match rules. Like, I can't tell you how certain people run, like, their match quarters, and they'll switch it up week to week sometimes because they know that there are certain plays that they're trying to take away, and certain what's it called? The offense will have, like, certain gimmies that they're trying to say, like, no, we want to take that away. Let's switch up these rules. When you see this guy break in this way, you're going to drop. We'll have you come up, etc. Right? He's not going to have that Rolodex where he sees all of these things and is able to see the field, everything like that, until he builds it through experience, through those live reps. That's why live reps are so important. And so, like, I can see a world where he does struggle because of that, because a lot of rookie quarterbacks do. Almost all rookie quarterbacks do, right? Unless you're CJ Stroud, who is
I think it's also worth mentioning that so Caleb, I think most would agree, had a good preseason. It was not really from the pocket. I don't think that we're worried that he's not going to succeed from the pocket, but most of the stuff that sticks out in my head did not occur in the pocket.
I disagree. There was some good, like, there was that 3rd down and long. So remember, he didn't have as many attempts, I feel like, in the first game. We did run the ball, I think. Like, we got into the red zone and ran the ball 3 times on that first series. He had that 3rd down and 15 where he finds DJ Moore on the deep comeback, right? It throws it perfectly with anticipation. He also hit DJ Moore on a slant that got dropped. Tight coverage.
That was a little roll up there.
No, sorry, maybe I'm thinking Keenan Allen. That might have been the Keenan Allen throw. The DB makes a play on it. I think JTO says this was a terrible route because you're just basically running the slant instead of, hey, the guy's worried about you going vertical. Set vertically, don't cut immediately. And that's he blamed it on the wide receiver for not getting basically setting up the DB the way that he should have on the slant. The DB was able to break right on it. It's still one-on-one. You should have the slant there. And he threw it perfectly with anticipation, still hits it in the hands, etc. I saw some glimpses, man.
I didn't say that he did not show anything from the pocket, and I did not say that even if he had showed nothing from the pocket, I didn't say that he isn't capable of it. We know he's capable of it anyway. I am just saying that most of the reasons that people are excited were plays that he made outside of the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, you're including rollouts, so we're not talking in structure. We're talking in pocket specifically.
I'm not saying, I'm not limiting it to in structure. I'm saying there are a lot of rollouts as well, which are not
Yeah, it's
always going to be there. Certainly not within the flow of the offense in certain situations.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree, and a lot of times, right? I don't want him to have to rely on half field reads, right, where he's rolling out and we're cutting the field in half and making it.
Yeah, I think he's tailor made for it compared to other quarterbacks because his arm is so strong and because he's creative and he understands what the assignment is. I don't mind if you call those for him. I don't want a ton of them because, right, you don't want the field limited. I'd like him to look at the entire field. He's capable of seeing the entire field. I don't want to cut it in half. And also, on 3rd and 10, you're not calling a rollout. If you're down by 10 points, you're probably not calling a rollout.
Right, you're in obvious passing situations, and when you're in obvious passing situations, a play action doesn't do shit. Yeah, no, I all of this is basically a roundabout way of me saying, hey, it could be a little bit of growing pains. Even if it is, I'm not going to be worried. I promise you. It's got to be absolute shit.
There would be some stuff that would worry me if he didn't take a sack this preseason. If he goes back to taking sacks, he's holding on to the ball too long. Did he take a sack?
He took one sack. He took the blame on himself. I don't think it was really his fault though. It was an interior pressure that he tried to step up and away from. It was in the the Bengals game.
Bengals game. Okay, I didn't see a couple plays in that. Okay. I would get slightly worried if he were to take sacks at a rate that I disagree with. I want to see him get the ball out quick from the jump. I want it to be in the front of his mind. I know Eberflus is making sure that shit's in the front of his mind. I want to see that it's in the front of his mind.
I fully buy he was doing that because he was playing hero ball. Like he was extending plays like crazy at USC, and when you watched it, you saw it. Like there was a lot of self sacks because he was running around trying to make sure he can, hit that home run. But he wasn't like that his first year there, and he wasn't like that at Oklahoma. And if you look at his P2S, it was nowhere near. I fully buy the idea that his defense is the reason why he was like that. I understand the concern. It's fair to be concerned, right?
Yeah, I would say I buy it. I agree with it. And I believe I would agree with it if I weren't a Bears fan, but I cannot discount the fact that I agree with it. I might agree with it.
In the back of your head. It's that voice in the back of your head, that little bit of pessimism that we've had to basically had installed in us when we became Bears fans, when we inherited this disease. That voice in the back of your head is basically saying, hey, it could be this. Hey, he could take a lot of sacks. We could just see the same thing like we saw all last year.
It's something for everybody, and it's a thing that I think is important that we maintain because, like, I don't know, I got into an argument about like whether Tom Brady was a dink and dunk style passer. Yes, he was. That would stylistically
in the beginning of his career, sure, but no, I'm not going to agree with that. And with the Bucs' last year, because that offensive line was ass, but he was still making plays downfield within 2.3 seconds. I'm going to disagree. Mawson after, I will disagree. But go on.
The people who were disagreeing with me all have Tom Brady as the GOAT in their profile. One guy said, no, I'm not a Patriots fan. Stop asking me, but Tom Brady is the GOAT. Like, they're all fucking... Who cares about your fucking opinion, motherfucker? You don't get an opinion. You're not on side. The people who can talk are the people who don't care one way or the other what Tom Brady was. Me and some other people on the other end. Sure, you could agree with it. You didn't watch that much football until you were like 20, but fine.
No, that's not. Oh, no. Okay, hold on. I will say this. I watched a ton of football growing up. I didn't turn myself into like a football nerd until later. I still understood some scheme, obviously, because I played. Schemes evolved during that time, though.
I didn't mean that as an insult, but I can't imagine that you have the same memory of Tom Brady, even in the 2007 season that I do. Isn't that a little weird that almost every single running back of Tom Brady's career had 50 receptions? Isn't that a little instructive?
He's going to take the cheese there if he's got to dump it off because of anything, but he still plays downfield. I would love to look at his ADOT. I'll say that.
This is my exact post, and I never followed up on it because I'm not arguing with people who have Tom Brady GOAT in their fucking profile. My exact response was, Tom Brady is the greatest intermediate passer of all time.
Oh, that's fair.
He is.
Okay,
He
that's
is
not thinking
one
dunk.
of. Shh. He is one of the greatest deep ball passers of all time. But stylistically, he was dink and dunk. He preferred 5-yard gains. He would only not take it if the look necessitated him doing anything else.
His ADOT was 8.6, right, throughout his career. I've got his PFF stuff up. He did have the A season in 08. It was 6.8. I think that year they had no weapons, and all of a sudden Moss comes in as 9.1. I'm actually shocked that they don't go all the way back to his first few years. I'm shocked that 06 and 07, though, are 8.7 and 9.4. I feel like an ADOT like that, yes, he's going to have it, but the dink and dunk with just intermediate would probably bring it. I wouldn't call him a dink and, like you say dink and dunk, and I immediately think don't lose the game for us. And I'll agree, the first 3 Super Bowls were very much so.
That's game manager. Dink and dunk is just how he chose to attack the field. He attacked short to long. Patrick Mahomes, who has a lesser ADOT in a different era of football, goes long to short. Matthew Stafford is the ultimate as long as fucking possible, and then at the last resort, I will check this thing down. It's just stylistic. It's almost ADOT independent because it's what the defense does. But what Tom Brady would have liked to do every play was throw a little out to his white slot receiver or check it down to Kevin Falk or Shane Vereen. That is what he wanted to do.
I'll say this: he's like Rodgers, except if Rodgers was allergic to also taking sacks. So like Rodgers very much so does not want to throw an interception. He'll take a sack over an interception. Brady will throw it away. You've got to pick one. You're either taking sacks, interceptions, or throwaways / dumping the ball off, right? In those situations.
If you're Patrick Mahomes, just complete the damn pass. That's why you're good.
If you're Patrick Mahomes is a GOAT, and I'm not going to argue that. Shoot, if the argument is who's better, I mean, I had Peyton Manning ahead of Tom Brady.
It kind of was that. I wasn't. Yeah. I was just arguing with a guy who was mad that somebody called that Ruiz said that Tom Brady's style was dink and dunk, and I agree, it was dink and dunk. The subtext was Mahomes can be dink and dunk, he just doesn't, and therefore Mahomes is the GOAT.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Where are we going with this?
My point was, it was basically acknowledging that because I'm a Bears fan, my opinion could be skewed about why Caleb Williams had
just like the
weird the weird outlier, pressure to Zach year as a junior. I agree with the analysis that was done mostly by Sco and other smart people who are more famous than Sco. But again, I do have to acknowledge that maybe because I'm a Bears fan. Just like these Tom Brady fans need to shut the fuck up and get the hell out of the argument. They're not welcome. They do not have a clear head on this.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a recent example. Both you and I had a lot of excuses for Justin Fields' first 2 years, probably 2.5 years. So, got to be careful. I hear you. And if we see it, we acknowledge it. On that note, though, these weapons and what we've got, I think also are a nice little, hey, Caleb, I think he knows. Just get into their hands however you need to, including our running backs, including our tight ends, right? They're perfectly capable of getting us what we need. If he keeps that front in mind, he doesn't somehow turn into Carson Wentz and want to extend the play forever for no freaking reason. Go 20 yards back, look like Shedeur Sanders did last year. And go 20 yards back in the pocket, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
I think as long as he
that's not what he does. Yeah. So,
but I bring up the weapons because when the hell was the last time? I know when the last time was. It was actually more recent, but last time we had weapons like this, I would think like the closest would be Alshon Jeffrey.
3 never. Yeah.
Well, unless you include Martellus Bennett. I would include Martellus.
I don't want to. I'll include Matt Forte before I include Martellus Bennett, frankly.
Okay, both of them. The closest I was going to say.
Not that too much disrespect to Marty B, but a little disrespect to Marty B. A little overrated.
It's wild to think with how wide receiver barren this team has been my whole life, where I was screaming back even in the 2000s, draft a wide receiver. Draft wide receiver. Like,
see, I don't even
never prioritized it. That's the thing that bothered me. We never prioritized it. And then sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, I don't even like that we are, because first of all, that's not Bears football. Bears football is running.
I'm sorry.
Stop.
I'm sorry.
Because
I'm not gonna say it because
we still play outdoors. So come December, what's gonna win? Fucking around.
Thank you. Oh, thank God. Thank God. You had me this close.
Yeah, man. I'm an amazing actor. Even though you already knew that I didn't think that, I still got you.
I know. But it brings in a rage because I've seen that argument. I've seen that argument so many fucking times. They throw one in the swear jar. They came out first F-bomb since we installed that.
And it doesn't even go in the swear jar. It's fine.
Sweet, let's go. All right, okay. I get an excuse. Because for so long, when I'm sure you were, hey, go prioritize wide receivers for once, please. Just get weapons. And I'm hearing people say, oh, you can get them late in the 6th round, blah, blah, blah. Fourth. Yeah, those are not easy to find. And then I still hear people say, we need the elite offensive line. We want to ground and pound. We want to naked boots, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Get them on the move. Let's play football in a way that doesn't win you games in the postseason, because you're going to eventually need to be put in that drop back pass game. You're going to be in a situation where you are expected to pass the ball. The defense doesn't give shit. Anyway, beyond that, wanting to come to the modern era of football, and here we are. And we've had tastes of it. I mean, even Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, whatever with I'm even forgetting his name because I don't even want to remember.
Tony Miller.
Anthony Miller. Even with those three, we got a little taste, right? I think we got a year of being like, oh, hey, we've actually got a decent number 2, a decent setup to maybe supplement. I don't even know if I call Gabriel number 2 to supplement what you would need to get a number 2 in.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of exciting, kind of schemed up offense that Nagy was kind of in his bag in his first year, and then
before it broke,
fumbled it.
This is just so nice. It's so nice. It's like a breath of fresh air, right? And it's wild because I don't even know what to think when you have this many weapons as a Bears fan for this team. It's because we're not used to
theoretically. So let's try to talk a little bit about the game itself. We've been doing it, but I want to point out that Keenan Allen, he's questionable with a heel injury.
Yep.
And there's already the concern that he's fat and slow and et cetera, et cetera. So
I wonder if the heel was a lingering injury during those games, because they don't give you an injury report until after the preseason.
Yeah. I just don't. I thought during Hard Knocks he looked a little thick, but I also don't really have a baseline of what I think Keenan Allen looks like. And I think I probably said this last time. Or no, I think I said this at my.
He did gain weight.
I think I said this to my dad's friend at the draft. Who told us that he weighs 230 pounds?
That was mentioned. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's a credible source. I think it came from the Beat, but it might have.
Why did they know that?
I don't know if he brought it up in an interview. I can't remember all the details there.
Unless it came directly from Keenan Allen, and I think there's enough mystery surrounding it that I don't think it came directly from Keenan Allen. I don't believe it because the Bears wouldn't fucking tell anybody that. They don't want anybody to know that. He's got to take a physical. Nobody has to know the results of his physical.
I don't remember, so I'm not gonna go ahead and just say that he didn't. But I can see where you're going there.
I think he might be a bit of a little thicker. I don't know. And certainly, especially the heel injury, might explain why he's looked even slower. But I guess my only point with him is I'm not expecting a lot with the injury and some of that. I don't. We're saying 3 weapons. I don't know if I'm necessarily considering slightly banged up, possibly heavy Keenan Allen a huge weapon in this first game. Certainly better than any other slot receiver that we've ever had going to a first game. But it's like, I don't know. I'm certainly going to temper the expectations since he's on this injury report right now.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking back at it. It was Albert Breer who the way
Why does that guy know?
Last week, and he listed. Yep. So Brendan Siguru had brought it up in a tweet that Albert Breer was the one who had mentioned it. Albert Breer is an insider. I don't know where the hell he got the information from. He does look a little bit thicker. From my understanding, the speculation was that he wanted to play a little bit of a big slot within Waldron's offense. I have no clue. He's listed at 211 this year. It sounds like he didn't gain weight. It's Bears official listing is 211, and that came out recently. So, you're probably right.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm not worried about that. I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. I am worried about the heel though, and that's why I was asking. Do you think that might be why he was a step slow? Because it's not. I doubt it's a weight.
No, I think that's a part of it, and I guess whether it's a part of it or not. I think I'm gonna bet the under on Keenan Allen receiving yards with the heel injury, and I don't know. It just seems like there's probably a little less of a connection among the three between Caleb and someone else, and also Roger McCreary is their slot corner, and it's a pretty good slot corner. So I'm not expecting a big Keenan Allen game. I don't think.
No, probably not. I am expecting a nice Rome Odunze. What's it called? Welcoming.
I think I definitely expect one of them to do something.
I mean, if DJ Moore goes off, I'm not going to be shocked. I definitely have DJ. Yeah, I definitely have DJ Moore being like, "You're going to give me at least something steady." I absolutely assume that. I doubt he'll have what he had week 1 last year against Green Bay, where everyone's like, "Where the hell's DJ?" But I don't know. I'm feeling with those first 3 wide receivers that were taken. I'm feeling pretty. I feel like all 3 of them are going to have some nice, like, hey, we just saw Xavier Worthy get 2 touchdowns on, like, what was it, 3 touches? 2 touches, maybe? I think it was 3.
3, yeah.
I think they're going to show more consistency.
It would have been 4 if he would have jumped higher on that contested catch ball and actually been able to touch the ball, but he didn't touch it.
If he wasn't 5'10", 160, it would have been 4, where you throw a contested catch ball to a 5'10", 160 wide receiver.
His vertical was more than like 10 inches, apparently. What the fuck was that?
And he was running around. I don't know. I'm sure he's not used to being thrown jump balls like that. Like, yeah,
that's AD Mitchell's job.
Yeah, hell yeah. And
I'm
can't think of the term, but basically, I feel like all 3 of them are going to do really well on their first games.
So I think I might agree. Big, and even go beyond those 3. Big rookie receiver over parlay.
Yeah,
that might be fun.
I would agree.
I'm with it on Neighbors. I'm with it on Harrison. Harrison's number's probably pretty big, but I'm still with it. And Rome's so I just get into a little bit about why I'm a little worried about this game, and whether Caleb's good or not. I think the Titans are kind of good. This is a nice little cornerback room. I've been talking myself into the Titans more and more since I correctly chose to make you have them instead of the Vikings in the wins draft. I think the Titans might be kind of sneaky good. I disagree. Defense really comes together in a way that's pleasing to me.
I disagree. I think the back 7 is built fine, right? And you know me, I like to build back to front.
I
don't think it's built well enough to, like, I don't think it's like miraculous, right? To be fair, with the Bears back 7, we had to hit on Tyreek Stevenson. I mean, yes, I was bullish. Bullish was the word I was looking for earlier, by the way. I was bullish.
What is the word that you said?
I would just say I just said optimistic. As I was stuttering, I was like, I have no idea. It's been a long week. If you can't tell by my energy level, I was bullish on basically all of our draft picks in the secondary. So like to me, it's like, oh yeah, they've always been good, but no, like we had to hit pretty lucky on the 3 to step up and be what they are. I don't know with the Titans that they're going to get that same level of performance. And so let me give it to you like this. Think about the Bears when Tyreek Stevenson wasn't playing well, right? And he was getting what's it called? He was getting picked on. If you have like one outlier with that defensive line that they've got, right? They almost feed right into like their weakness feeds into our weakness.
Well,
Where it's like
I want to be clear here. The weakness, if the Titans have one, is like maybe free safety. The corners, you could expect age-related regression, but like the corners are the corner. They're good.
yeah, no,
Chidobe Awuzie and L'Jarius Sneed, they signed. L'Jarius Sneed last year was probably a top 10 corner. I don't care about the PFF grade. He was probably a top 10 corner. And I would expect some regression there because I don't think he's in that class. I'm not I'm not afraid of throwing at him, but he's a good corner. Awuzie is a good corner.
I agree.
McCrary, I'm a huge fan, and he actually graded pretty well. So
I was gonna say McCrary has been a good corner in the league. I agree that they are solid. I worry that Snead's coming into so I don't know much about the Titans defensive scheme. I don't think it's going to be like Spags, and I do think Snead benefited from Spags.
I think we gotta assume the best we could do is assume it's Ravens-y because it's he's Ravens DB coach.
Yeah,
we don't know, but it's probably what we got to assume.
And that feels very different from what Spags ran, who was very much so, very much so cover one.
Yeah, he's a cover one guy for sure.
So I don't know.
Actually, we're both saying that very confidently. We don't know for sure, but I think that sounds right. I think Spags is a cover one guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's cover one. I'm trying to think of what Mike McDonald ran. I'm pretty sure he mixed it up a lot more match rules on their back end, but I think of his front more than I think about their coverages, and so I'm a little off here. I just don't know how easy it is, and this comes back to I mentioned this with the Seahawks when we were talking about the Seahawks during the Wentz draft, how easy it is to install that defense in a very short amount of time, right? I do think it takes a lot of reps and a lot of practice to get it down because of how complex it is. With the amount of movement that you have pre and post snap, it's hard to orchestrate and make sure that you're communicating as well as possible. So I'm curious as to what that will do.
They're all veterans, though. You got to give them that.
Yeah, and I will say Snead and Awuzie are definitely deserve more credit than I'm giving them. And same with McCrary. I like McCrary coming out. The defensive line, like, what are their line? Who are their linebackers? I'm blanking on who their linebackers are.
So they just traded for Ernest Jones for free, basically, and that's like it was the one legit weakness on this Titans defense was their two inside linebackers, and now with Jones, who I don't know how much you can catch any inside linebacker up to speed in any new defense this quickly. He's been on the team for 2 weeks. I mean, you can't possibly have the green dot, but
I'll be able to read his keys.
He's a talented player. He's a real talented player. He raised the floor on the linebacker group a good amount.
Yep. So I'm curious also then now that we're talking about it a little bit more, especially because I do not like this defensive line much at all. How much of it is going to be dictated on the ground?
So the defensive line. Now it's interesting. Again, you have to see it live because, I mean, it's where they took. I mean, start with Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons is awesome. He's an awesome player. By the way, we get that out of the way. The rest of the interior guys are just guys, but I mean, how often are they going to be in base, and how often is Devondre Sweat just going to be allowed to just, play zero tech and eat up dudes and let guys behind him clean up? There's there's like something to it. It's kind of a weird kind of throwback style of building a defense almost because
I'm not going to sit there and think though that DeAndre Sweat's going to do all that much as a rookie first year defensive tackle in the run game. I feel like in the run game, especially, you see a lot of younger defensive tackles have some struggles early on. Like
I
when
also think it's I also
Jordan
think it's
Davis,
a little,
for instance.
I also think it's a little unlikely he's on the field all that. Like,
yeah,
this game's probably not going to be won in base by the Titans.
Yeah, and good call out on Jeffrey Simmons. I'm not getting into very much specifics with the guys. Some just basically blanket statement. DL sucks. He does not. I don't know.
I have a hard time agreeing that the DL necessarily sucks. Like, they got we thought briefly that Arden Key, arguably their best edge rusher, we thought he was going to be suspended for 6 games. That turned out to be wrong. He's going to play. And on the other side, you got Harold Landry. I don't like, neither of the guys sucks. Like, they're both solid. Like, neither one's going to be confused for a number 1 pass rusher on a great pass rushing team, but like, they're both kind of solid. And then, let's pretend Denard Wilson is somehow as good as McDonald as a defensive play caller. The talent level of the edges isn't even really that big of a deal. Like, they're gonna get to the quarterback one way or the other. I think there just exists a world, and it's not that hard to squint and see, where they're getting after Williams with some sim pressures, maybe some real blitzes. The corners are able to hold their own because they're pretty good, and things are a lot harder on Caleb than we thought. It's also possible that this guy is not as much like Mike McDonald as I fear, because there's a reason he was hired as a coach, and maybe he's schematically different, and it's not as scary, and the pass rush is not going to be that big to deal with. But it's in the back of my mind, like, if we're going against like a Ravens clone defense like that, this could be scary.
It's funny. I'm thinking about it. I think he's also from Todd Bowles' tree, and we mentioned Spags. Isn't Bowles very similar flavored to Spags?
Bowles, I almost feel like is like a Flores, like just like fucking
He's a little
type of guy.
Yeah.
I don't know about the.
I mean, Spags sends his pressures too.
Coverage shells so much.
Yeah, no, I think because I believe he was. I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure he was. He spent time with Todd Bowles before going over to the Ravens.
All this to say, this is what I think about when I think about the scenario where the Bears could possibly lose this game. I don't think it's an easy game. Is all I'm saying. There's a scenario where the Titans defense might be fine. There's not a ton of weak spots. It's not like a ton of like incredible strengths either. But yeah, I mean, it comes together in a way that's at least interesting to me. Where I'm like, if Caleb struggles with them, I'm not going to be that upset because like they got some good players.
That's fair, and I do agree. I mean, I believe I was looking at the roster with you a couple weeks ago, and I was saying, hey, this team looks a lot better than I think a lot of us are giving them credit for. I don't like their offense. I'm fine. So like, I think they'll do a decent job running the ball. You know how I feel about the wide receivers they've got. DeAndre Hopkins is obviously going to have some kind of impact, right? I'm not going to sit there and say like I've already said before. I won't say those grades are washed until I actually see it. But yes, I was going to say that there is. I saw something recently today stating that he's questionable and is. I think an insider, and I don't remember who had mentioned that he's most likely not playing at all. From what they've heard, I'm not going to speculate. He's definitely at least questionable. There's a chance he might not play. On top of that, Calvin Ridley he looked a little bit better at the end of last year, right? But not to the point where I'm like, yeah, let's sign that guy for the contract that they signed him for and have him as a bona fide number 2 target, etc.
Unfortunately, the fact that he was horribly overpaid does not affect this football game.
Still
Ridley,
don't like him.
I don't know. The thing with Ridley was he was actually awesome in a couple games. It was just completely out of left field. Like, he was really good in the first game of the season. Then he was good in like the 3rd game, and then he was good in like the 12th game, and then he was like running the wrong route and dropping balls and doing all sorts of crazy weird shit the other games. And I don't know what that was going on, Calvin Ridley. I do have to acknowledge that there's a very high ceiling.
I would disagree there.
I was upset. You can't disagree that there's a high ceiling with Calvin Ridley because we've seen it. We even if we don't necessarily think it's going to happen, 3 years ago, and the reasons that he wasn't playing football were.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't.
Right, they were kind of stupid, basically. Like it's not like he's coming off like some crazy injury or anything like that. Like he's healthy. He also had some mental health issues going on.
He's also 29.
What
he's hitting that age cliff, right? It's right around the time that I think you lose a step. And I think with his play style, that age cliff, with his play style, that age cliff hits hard. And I'm just going to throw out there everything you said about having random games where they're great and then otherwise being very unreliable is what I would characterize. Like that's a wide receiver 3 characteristics, wide receiver 4 characteristics.
But that's also
the guy that comes out
it's also
3 times a season.
It's also maybe the characteristic of a guy who hadn't played professional football in 2 years and was,
If he came out of the gates, if he came out of like week 10 on and started to show up stronger, and I know he had a better end of the season, but it was not week 10 on. It's just like, okay, now I'm hitting my stride. Sure. Right. I think a lot of the reason why people look at Trevor Lawrence the way that they look at Trevor Lawrence is the fact that Calvin Ridley wasn't what he should have been when they traded for him. And
that's true. I don't know. I mean,
and now you've got Will Levis, who I think is going to be pretty reliant on his weapons being where they need to be when they need to be there and being reliable because he's going to be YOLO shitting things. And if they're not, those YOLO balls aren't going to exactly, that'll feed right into exactly what we want, right? Eventually making that mistake. And it might not be Will Levis's fault. It'll look like it, but it could very well be Calvin Ridley's fault, right? Like it's different when you're playing with Levis's second year now, right? He was same draft class as Richardson.
Yeah.
You're playing with a second-year quarterback who showed something, right? We'd both agree last year, but isn't exactly the person who takes care of the football, and is going to get what the offense gives him. So he's going to be pretty. I think a lot of quarterbacks like that are reliant on their weapons, right? Because you need your weapons to be able to make that play when you call on them. So I don't know. I don't like this offense. What is it? Their left side of their offensive line looks great. The right side of the offensive line, I don't know what the hell's going on there.
If that, yeah. Let me back up for a second here. You brought up a lot of different guys here. I think here's what I think about Will Levis, what I think about Calvin Ridley, what I think about Brian Callahan as a head coach and play caller. I think there is a high range of outcomes with some pretty good stuff on the high end. Even if that's not what I'm predicting, I'd rather be playing a team that I know is average than a team where maybe Calvin Ridley is going to be good. Like maybe all the reasons he was bad last year had very little to do with anything that's going to be happening this year. I acknowledge like Will Levis, like no explanation really needed. Will Levis probably is not going to work out just because of where he was drafted, and he didn't show that much last year. But like also he's got a goddamn bazooka and he loves to throw the ball deep. Luckily, I do think the Bears are going to be pretty good at defending deep passes, so that's a big that's a good thing. And Callahan, I don't know, he's been around football his whole life. We don't know. He barely called plays for the Bengals. We don't actually know. Am I going to bet on him? Probably not. But like he could be really good.
He does come with his dad, who, with my offensive line concerns that I mentioned, probably helps alleviate a lot of that.
Yeah. And so as for the offensive line, I'll go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I mean, you do have some young people on that offensive line. I don't know, like Nicholas Petit Frere, for instance. You want to let's. I think it's best we turn over to you for this with the offensive line.
He probably sucks. Dylan Radunes probably sucks. They're both young enough that you can't necessarily be positive that they're going to suck, but like, yeah, those are guys to pick on for sure. I would, assuming Montez is healthy, I'd like to see Montez next to Petit Frere every play, so that they have to chip.
Decent
That'd
bookends.
be great. Well, Petit Frere is probably a bad right tackle. J.C. Latham, pretty glowing reports. It sounded like, right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm confused really quickly.
That you said the right side of their offensive line sucks, and you're correct.
Yeah,
Radunes and Petit Frere are pretty bad right guard and right tackle, respectively, based on how they performed so far.
I had that. I completely forgot that. I was right on the first time, and then for some reason I was thinking Latham was on the right side, like he was still in college, even though I knew he flipped. Yeah, so the because you've got Skoronski at guard, and you've got Latham with him, and Latham's looked really good out the gates from what I've heard. I didn't expect that as much, considering what I thought I saw out of him.
Yeah, no, we'll see in game action, but like, So your thing, I don't know. Maybe it was hard just to stand out because everybody on Alabama weighed 360 pounds on the offensive line. Maybe there was just the one athletic good one that you just weren't really seeing as much because they were all just like huge, massive man. I don't know. Like Latham did have some problems for me. I don't know. He was kind of like a mini, like a slightly less good Darnell Wright, in my opinion. But I guess with more upside because he was less experienced and maybe a little quicker on his feet. I don't know. I'm not.
I disagree on the quicker on his feet, but then again, you make a good point. They were all 300 something pounds, and I see the thing is, I didn't see it like that. I saw it as they were a liability in pass protection because they were all of them were so damn slow that anytime they set for any kind of like pass rush, and
yeah, I understand. Maybe unless you were zeroing on Latham, maybe it was the other guys that were most of the issue.
There were some concerns that I thought I saw with Latham specifically, but it was definitely a unit issue. Now, what I do want to say about that offensive line and that left side though is I do like Pollard, and I do like Tyjae Spears, right, as explosive runners. That almost feeds into the strength of our defense. So I'd say like if there's anything that the Titans will have to rely on is you run behind Skoronski and Latham. And Radunes, who's a big boy at center, right? You run behind that left side of that line.
Well, Cushenberry is their new center. They signed him. He's a pretty good center.
Sorry, Radunes is the right guard, right? I'm shifted over. Yeah. Cushenberry is a pretty good center, from my understanding. He's a league average starter at least. I feel like they can get something going in the run game throughout. Maybe not off the right side. We'll find out how Petit Frere looks because I don't think he's good at all. But that feeds into a strength of our
prospect.
You were.
I said I wasn't super interested in Petit Frere as a draft prospect, and I think he's really only starting here by default.
I was going to say though that I do think that's a strength for them that they can rely on and win some games with by getting a lead early. The same old typical football minded shit, right? Things that don't actually win you playoff football. That is their strength, but that feeds right into our strength as a really good run defense, which I think then feeds into our pass defense, for instance, which might not be as great because of the pass rush. Because of our corners and the fact that we can get people, we do so well against a run. It does end up having a little bit of synergy that feeds right into it. We're going to be putting Will Levis into obvious passing situations where maybe we don't have the pass rush that can, and honestly, with Petit Frere, probably we might, and Radunes on that. So if we can get them into that. Again, that's another weakness feeds into our weakness. Their weakness in their trenches, right, feeds into both of our weaknesses in our trenches. I don't see. That's the thing is like I think our offense will be able to put up how do I put this? It might not be spectacular, but the reason I'm not concerned is I think our offense will be able to control the game in the sense that our defense will basically put them in a situation in which I would take Titans under points, team under points all day long. Is I guess where I'm going with this, because
that sounds right. I don't think the Titans are going to be able to score much. And again, the thing about Ridley is, Levis is going to be bombing it no matter what. Maybe he'll reel it in a little bit and take the underneath stuff that I think we will allow to be there. That's where Spears and Pollard would scare me more so, is in the short passing game.
Yep, that's true.
Although
I do see them both as,
if Ridley is any good, like, that's kind of your deep threat, and that's like, all right, now we actually got to care about this guy and play over the top of him. I mean, if Ridley stinks, and obviously if Levis stinks, like, I wouldn't be worried about them at all. There's I guess just enough unknown about the Titans offense from, like, maybe they can cobble together 20 points and maybe we only score 17 and maybe that's how we lose.
Maybe this is just because I've been a Bears fan for so long that anytime I see an offense with so many unknowns and then I have those things that I can pick on within the unknowns, I typically know where this is going to go because we see it ourselves, right? So
I guess with Levis for me, it's an unknown that I do tend to like. Obviously,
his play style is going to lead to volatile results, right? So, like, there's a chance that he just absolutely goes off. I just don't know. I don't think that this is kind of where this was my roundabout way to go to, right? I believe this game is going to be very much so us just controlling and dictating terms when it comes to how the game flow goes. And it sucks that I have to say this because with this offense, I don't want to live this way, but I think this is going to be a very much so time of possession game where we're going to get up.
That's where I'm landing. That's why I need Caleb to play in the pocket mostly. I don't need a ton from him.
In structure, I don't know if it needs to be in the pocket. If it's a rollout, that's fine, right? Like, as long as it's in structure.
No, right. I need to be a little bit more confident than I currently am that he could play in structure right away.
I will say this.
I'm going to pick them. I am going to pick the Bears. I'm probably not going to pick them -4. I'm too scared to do that.
I will say this. I would not want to take that part away from Caleb, right? Because you still want him to, if he feels the instincts to create, it's just let him do it, in my opinion. I don't
no
want
one's going to stop him. He's going to play the rest of his career, good or bad, and nobody's going to stop him from doing that. And I'm glad nobody's going to. But this one, I just need to see. I'm just saying I need to see the stuff in structure when it is there.
I think we will, and I think you're underselling how much of that we saw, if you include the rollouts too, especially how much of that we saw in the preseason. You can go back.
I guess I need to see the Bears offense as a whole do well in structure if we're going to go that route, because then I would say there was really just one good play.
No, there was also the one to Cole Kmet deep, and then he also hit DJ Moore. Now we're including the rollouts.
We keep shifting what I'm thinking. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, there were. I think you're thinking of pure drop back, and I'm like, okay, sure, but we didn't run a lot of pure drop back as the issue. If you include just in structure, I mean, because we probably, I mean, there's probably a bunch there that we wanted to keep it basic, right?
But also, okay, so like
what do you want to show them? You want to show them more offense?
The really cool 40-yard play at Odunze.
Just as cool as the play to Cole Kmet down the sideline on the corner route.
Listen. That was a pure drop back. It just didn't end up that way. Like, they called it. It just, none of it actually happened. A lot of it just didn't happen in structure. The cool should have been touchdown pass to Odunze. I don't believe there was any play action to that. Caleb's touchdown run. I think there was a pure drop.
He goes through 4 different. I think he goes through like 3 or 4 different progressions. If you watch the all 22 of him, he goes through 3 or 4 different progressions. There was nothing. He ended up having.
There doesn't have to be anything. I'm just saying. And again, it's about the entire offense.
You want the entire Bears offense. Okay, I just want to make sure that we're switching off of Caleb there, because I was gonna say
Well, it starts with him, but
I'm bullish. I'm just too bullish. That's the issue. If he can do that, I do think that we still get a good game from Rome. I think we get a decent game. I think we get at least a decent game from both Rome and DJ. I agree that maybe Keenan Allen isn't as effective within this game immediately. Although, considering the linebacker situation, this could be a Gerald Everett and Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, one or two of the three taking over.
Yeah. Hard to point to who we actually think. I mean, we've talked about this for an hour, and I don't think we've necessarily
Gone anywhere.
decided exactly how this game's going to go.
It is muddy. I mean, it's week one. This is the issue with week one, right? We haven't seen these teams yet.
Here's what I'll say. Block Jeffrey Simmons. That's key number one to me, offensively. Block Jeffrey Simmons, because that's the potential game wrecker. That's the guy who can get up the middle pressure and make it so that Caleb does all the stuff that I'm afraid that he could potentially do. Is that literally my only key? Actually, I don't know. I
mean, you can.
That's basically it. Just I make the plays in structure. We're not necessarily trying to hit the home run. Of course, the home run will avail itself at some point, especially because I don't love their safeties. But I hope there's a good amount of patience in week one, and also if he sucks, I mean, it's just the first game.
Yeah. Also, on the note of their safeties, Jamal Adams, I believe, is out,
which is maybe a bad thing for us.
Yeah, actually. I don't know what their backups look like, but
I don't even know that he necessarily is a starter. He probably is, but
I mean, he's worth 2 first-round picks a few years ago.
Right. I think Amani Hooker was starting no matter what. I guess I don't know enough.
Maybe. That's fair.
There was probably going to be some, as the Ravens do, some 3 safety stuff that they're not going to be able to get into as much.
Yeah, that's fair. It may impact certain packages, and
I'll say this. The more we've talked about this, the better I feel, honestly, about the Bears' chances, which is the kiss of death, I think. But even though I do like the Titans, I do think the matchup here is pretty favorable for the Bears.
Yeah, I don't think I realized coming into this conversation how much I would have to do have to work to convince you that it was going to
convince me. We just went thing by thing, and I just
walk you off the ledge, I guess, on some things.
It's on the ledge, because again, I got to say this. I think if the Bears lose tomorrow, and maybe we can get into some of our bold takes that we wanted to end on anyway. I think if the Bears lose tomorrow, they are still going to make the playoffs. I don't really care that much about tomorrow or Sunday, tomorrow, when anybody could possibly listen to this.
I kind of agree. I had this one chalked up as a win, in my opinion. I have to look back at how I had all the toss-ups and everything like that to figure out.
I'm going to say this. I'll be more specific. If they lose to the Titans, they will be beating the Texans in Houston on Sunday Night Football.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. If they lose to the Titans, absolutely. I could see us going 0-2. I mean,
I have very little respect for the Texans.
Whoa. Okay, we'll get into that next week. We might get into that after we get done with this episode.
We did it. We did it last week. They were lucky. They were turnover lucky. They were lucky in 1-score games.
Agree, but it's still a very solid
team. The one thing that you can hope for to make up for it is that if, in their case, quarterback growth is linear.
Right. Okay. So if Stroud doesn't take a step back, which I don't think he's going to take, yes, the turnover luck we'll have some regression there, right? Which in one game, what are we talking about? Like an interception, probably at most 2. At the most 2. I don't see him throwing 3. That'd be a wild game. That would just be him being really dumb.
I think the Titans might be better than the Texans.
I disagree because I really like their defense. And
I say that.
I really like their weapons.
When I make such statements, I say them as, oh shit. I drove past some Brother Rice people tailgating near my apartment, and I
Sick.
screamed out the window, "Brother Rice sucks, Maris rules." I didn't realize they're playing each other. I just said it because I saw Brother Rice.
There we go.
Sorry, that showed up on my phone just now. Go Maris. Go Redhawks.
Just
Go
really quickly. The weapons are. I think the weapons are significantly better. If you ignore name and you consider age and where people are at, I think the weapons are significantly better on the Texans. I also think the defense. Okay, secondary might be a toss-up, right? I'll give you that. I love Derek. Derek Stingley has definitely started to become the cornerback that I thought he was coming out, right? Where I had him going before Sauce, but I also had Sauce above him. Like I kind of just I don't know how I guessed the Texans would take him. But that ended up being one of my hits.
So you were the opposite of me?
Yeah, I have it. That was
I liked Stingley slightly better, and I don't think there's any way that I'm gonna end up being right about that. But I definitely knew that. Wait.
No, Stingley went first to the Texans.
Yeah, I
Sauce
know.
went. Yeah. So you had it flipped though. You had Sauce going earlier.
Yeah,
You
'cause
didn't.
I had Sauce locked in at 4, and I didn't have Stingley in the top 3. That's what it was.
Yeah, you were shocked that I had that prediction. You were wondering why, because you didn't think he was a fit for Lovie Smith at the time. I think that goes back to, hey, we run a lot more like cover 3, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, no, I feel like this is gonna be the guy that he goes for. It was just, I like Sauce more coming out, but I still really like Stingley, and I thought that he was a good fit there, and he's starting to show that. I like their secondary. I think all around they don't have many holes on their defense, right?
Oh, I think they got holes. I think the holes is the only argument I could possibly have, honestly. I think they're really weak in the interior. I think they're pretty weak at linebacker.
Linebacker, I would agree.
I think their second corner is a major problem. Yeah, that's basically it, because their offense versus the Titans' offense is almost an unassailable W for the Texans in every single spot.
You don't
So
like?
you know what? I'm not going to say that they're better. I'm going to say, given the schedules that each has to play, I think the Titans have a good shot at finishing with a better record than the Texans. There, that's going to be my hot NFL take. I'm taking the Titans to finish ahead of the Texans in the division.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
Well, I guess we're starting off with the hot takes. So one thing, let's transition to our bold takes. One thing, I was listening to Mina Kimes, Jeff Foxworthy, isn't that the comedian? Jeff Foxworth.
I know the name of the guy, but there's an area of a joke that I feel like I should be in. I'm not there yet.
And then Bill Barnwell had a podcast together. They do this every year. And I really like their format of it, so I kind of want to steal it. It's mild, medium, hot, right? So you got a mild take, a medium take, and a hot take.
If you have a mild, medium, and hot take, you might be a podcaster.
Barely. We're barely podcasters, but we do have...
That's my character, Dominique Foxworthy.
Oh, man. The my ability to just mix up names and my recall issues are just the best thing in the world. I love it. It's the greatest ADHD trait that I think I could ever have. The mild takes, just to explain, it's exactly how it sounds. Mild takes is like, yeah, we think this and we feel good about it. Like, I don't think anybody would argue against this, but like maybe some people aren't seeing it. A medium take is like, whoa, okay, you sure? I'm not gonna like freak out. Hot take needs to be hot. And so like that was a hot take, bro. Saying the Titans will have a better record than the Texans starts us off great. I'm not gonna start off with my hot take.
Yeah, but I'm gonna do very specific, so that's not actually one of my takes.
All right. So that's a good example then of a hot take. It needs to be that damn far. So please do not come back at us for how bad these hot takes might look in about a year.
Hot takes are supposed to be wrong. If they're not wrong, it's weird.
Yes. And if they're not wrong, we get to just gloat and pretend like we knew this the whole time. We're just geniuses.
Zero risk. Zero risk. I mean it. You cannot say shit to me.
Yeah. All right, cool. Mild take. Kev, you start us off.
About the Bears, DJ Moore, career high in every relevant receiving statistic.
Okay, wait, hold on. With the okay, that feels more medium.
Does that
With
mean?
because like you got to think there's two other there's more than just two other
Well,
people that he's splitting targets with.
that's why it's to take it all. That's why it's to take it all.
Well, hold on, but you're saying every category. Now, if you came out with just yards, I'd be like, okay, cool, I get that. That's mild. But every single category, when you've got all the weapons,
touchdowns or whatever, and receptions. What's his career high in receptions?
I don't know what his current high is in any of them. So, but it just out the gate, considering the opportunities that he's going to be losing to all the other weapons, every category, like a triple crown season career.
Yeah. If you think that's medium, that's great because I don't have my other two takes yet. 96 receptions.
No, you use it as your mild, so you're gonna have to come up with another medium. Sorry. His high in receptions is 96, doable. But again, it's only been 96, and he's got more people to split between. And
I feel great about this. This is a mild take for sure. I don't think this is. I don't
you think he's gonna get above 13.6? 13.6? I had him at like 1,200 this year. 13.6?
14 or 15.
Jesus. All right. I mean, if he does that, he might be creeping up on my top 7, top 6.
It will change absolutely nothing about what I think about him as a receiver either.
Yeah. Only 8 touchdowns. I could see that. I mean, you could have like a 10 touchdown season. I wouldn't be that worried about it. I'm more so worried. I still think that the receptions is still high to get that 100, and you haven't before with everyone. And then also, bro, the yards. Now that I think about it, the yards should not have been the example that I said would be the one that would have been mild.
And I'll to cover my ass a little bit, I guess I'll go on a per game basis because I cannot possibly predict whether he'll play all 17 games. But I think he will beat his career highs on a per game basis.
Per game basis. All right.
And I just don't. I think what he loses in potential volume, he will make up for in that a good quarterback will be throwing him the football. And that I do think, for at least this year, he will still be head and shoulders the best receiver on the team.
All right. For my mild take, I see Bears are wild card. I mean, this one feels. I know.
Yeah, that's too wild.
Sure, there's I said mild, dude. Mild should be something. Some people disagree. Some people do disagree. Some people don't. A lot of people don't have them as a wild card team. A lot of people. I heard Rich on the Rich Eisen show. They're talking. Rich is very big on the Bears this year and very high on Caleb. But then he hears a take that's 3 teams from the NFC North, which obviously means the Bears would be one of them because most people are like sitting there saying the Vikings aren't going to be that great. 3. He then automatically responds with, "Oh, but that means like the Rams or the Seahawks or the Bucks aren't going to get in." And I'm just like, we're better than I think we're better than 2 of those 3 teams. Stafford's great on the Rams, so obviously maybe not in McVay, but I do think we're better than the Rams, and at like roster wide, and I think we're better than the Bucks. I think the Bucks aren't that good.
I think the Seahawks are the team when I think about.
Could knock us out.
Who's my actual like top 8 or so? I think the Seahawks are the ones that like. I'm trying to think about my top 8 really quick. The Seahawks are the ones that would worry me as like maybe better if their defense is good because of McDonald.
Yeah. So there's also that.
Maybe better regardless. I don't know.
Yeah. They're close at least, I think, regardless, and then could be better if they get more of the line play that they got 2 years ago, and especially from the tackles, and then their defense gets better because obviously the coach. I do think that they could be the one team that kicks us out, or obviously the Cardinals, who I think could have it's not like they have great personnel, but Gannon, right? I want to make sure that I'm not saying something stupid. Gannon runs that defense with what he's got. He cooks. He turns chicken shit into chicken salad on defense. Or at least gives them a chance. And then on time gives them a chance. Are you giving me that look? And then I'm bullish on Kyler this year, and then I'll Marvin Harrison. So like I could see the Cardinals being like that Cinderella, like so the team that everyone's sleeping on that comes out of nowhere. We've talked about this before, so they could, but realistically, it's the Seahawks of any of the teams that could kick us out. I still think we're taking the wild. We're taking at least the 7th seed, if not the 6th, if not the 5th. And we'll get there, but I could see 3 double-digit winning teams in the NFC North. But let's move on to our medium takes.
This is so hard because I mean, if that was your mild take, then I had a mild take too. This isn't even a take. This isn't no. I'll go medium. I'll figure one out. But I'm gonna say this: the Bears will be 9-7 going into the final week against Green Bay. Playoff spot on the line, and Green Bay already in, and they'll win that game. That's my prediction.
Do you think Green Bay benches their starters because they've got the playoff spot, or do you think Green Bay is fighting?
Don't care, yeah. Because as I keep saying, you better bury us in the first half of the season.
I agree there. I'll agree there. I hope that doesn't happen for this
take, though.
I was going to say, for the sake of my blood pressure, I hope to God that doesn't happen. The amount of stress that I will have going into that week. Like, I'm talking about being very calm for this is a complete damn opposite if we have to deal with that. But I kind of agree. I kind of agree in the sense that if it comes down to that, I could see us winning it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a confidence in the quarterback and the personality that he's got. Do you have a medium take, or do you want to count that as your mild?
No, I'll stick with mild. Well, I guess we can judge which one of these takes is spicier. Jaquan Brisker, Pro Bowler.
I think the DJ Moore one's spicier. Pro Bowl is such a crapshoot. And I think he's got a little bit of a name from his rookie year. So if he just comes out and
deserving Pro Bowler.
Yeah. Deserving Pro Bowler. Okay. So almost all pro is what you're basically getting at. Maybe second team all pro?
Sure.
Okay. That's a spicy take. That's not spicy. That's a medium take. That's spicier. Yeah, that's he would have to become super consistent.
I don't think I need to explain it though. Like, we know what would happen if so.
Yeah. He would just need to become super consistent with what he's already shown. Can he do that? We'll find out. Okay, so for my medium take, Rome Odunze will be of the rookies that were drafted this year as wide receivers. He will statistically be wide receiver 5 out of all of them, but will be the wide receiver everybody's coming out in the season thinking is one of the best of the group.
I'm sorry. What?
So I would say A.D. Mitchell, BTJ, Marvin Harrison, and Malik Neighbors all come out with more production than Rome.
More fantasy points, for example. You think all
more fantasy points, more yards, more touchdowns, anything, however we want to quantify.
Into a big stew, probably fantasy points.
But at the end of the year, if like the football nerds will know, Rome Odunze is up there with Marvin Harrison.
I think that's spicy in both directions. I don't think it's possible for him to finish behind both Mitchell and Brian Thomas.
I think
everyone to say that he's. I
think it's going to be an opportunity thing. It's going to be like my Ayuk.
Spicy.
It's an opportunity thing. It's like my Ayuk. I see Ayuk as the 6th best receiver. Some people fans of his own damn team don't even see him as good as Debo sometimes.
I think I'm starting to think that maybe as a result of or as illustrated by how you thought DJ Moore was a little spicier than it actually is. I think maybe you're underestimating. There are 60, 70 plays a game. Like there are enough
So
mouths to feed.
let me feed it to you like this. BTJ is basically going to have to be the number one receiver. It's either boom or bust for him for Trevor Lawrence. So
See,
either
now I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue the hot take because, like, by definition, that's silly. But if Brian Thomas leads the Jaguars in receiving yards, it just means that he's a good football player. Like he's not going to do it if he's bad. It'll just be Christian Kirk.
right. But what I'm trying to say is he will still be a good football player, but that doesn't mean the opportunities are the reason why he got the production over another very good football
I get it.
player.
You're saying
Yeah.
it's the AAU
Now,
football hipster.
AD Mitchell's got to deal with Alec Pierce and our boy why am I
Michael Pittman Jr.
Michael Pittman Jr. I think AD Mitchell is better than both of them. AD and Rome to me. I think he can be better than both of them. I'm being real spicy. I'm super bullish on AD Mitchell. I would have him probably third with Malik Neighbors. It's hard, man. All these wide receivers are so good. Malik Neighbors is going to be the number one for Daniel Jones. I think AD Mitchell is going to be a big part of that offense with the Colts. And then Marvin Harrison also is going to have it's him and like Trey McBride. Very different when you're being thrusted into a position where you need to either be the number one or number two option, like outright. Whereas Rome is literally coming in here like I could be the fourth if I want to, because we also have tight ends who, if we need to, we can lean on a little bit. That's where I'm coming at. However, if you were to look at it at a yards per route run or let's reception perception, we take a look at every time he wins.
Success rate on routes. Yeah, sure. I got it.
We will know that, this is opportunity based. Rome is, because I think Rome has shown a ton already on plays that he doesn't get the ball thrown to him.
I think it's a lovely take given what this is. I'm just gonna say that I don't see that happening just because if he's that good, I think he's gonna get the ball.
Yeah, so I like to consider the mediums of 50-50, right? So it's my flip. So I think with a coin flip, this might be more 40-60. I'd agree with you. And the thing is, like I've already told you, I think that Rome will probably have a really good rookie season. So I disagree with myself a little bit.
I think this is our medium take. And I think that our medium take should be odds that are somebody would give us odds no better than 75-25. And I think given everything that you just did, I think the odds are like 90-10.
No, I disagree. I think
that's
75-20. I would say it's mild would be 75-25. Do you really think that the DJ Moore take you had was more than 75-25? Was better than 75-25?
Yeah, I think 60-40.
Well, yeah, so then I was going like 40-60 on this. You think it's 90-10. We might disagree on where it's at, but I think this is like 40-60. Well, okay. No, hold on. You're right because it does rely on all of them hitting, all the other guys hitting. So I agree. It's going to be very unlikely. However, it's some sort of scenario like that. He could be the fourth, right?
It doesn't have to be the exact guys.
Yes.
I still am not like. But also, to be clear, the odds, I think there's a 40% chance that what I said about DJ Moore actually comes true. I think there's a 25% chance that what I said about Jaquan Brisker actually comes true. And actually, I think it's way less than that. But it's close enough that I'm going to go with that.
I would say, so I'm more so saying it's going to be so I guess where I'm really going is we're going to hear a lot of dumb fans say, oh, Rome's not that great from other fan bases. Like, oh, Malik Neighbors so much better, blah, 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 blah. Like, I can't believe some people had Rome higher or whatever, or like AD Mitchell. But then you're going to have other people that we're going to deal with that shit where it's like, and I know you're very high on Malik Neighbors, so it's a terrible example for you. But look, AD Mitchell, we're going to hear people say that AD Mitchell is so much better, BTJ is so much better, right? And a lot of people who know ball are going to be like, okay, guys, shut up. Like, you're being loud and stupid. Right, yeah. That's where I'm really going with this.
Well, you know what? You're the only person in the world that can come up with a hot take or a medium take that I'm already dreading that if they were to come true, it's like Twitter discourse. Like you've come up with a medium take that's like going to lead to the most annoying Twitter discourse in the world. Where like I have to be like, no, Ramo Odunze is good. You fucking idiots. Like,
yeah, but it does mean that it would mean that even if we don't see some of the production versus others, I am thinking that he's going to be good, right? He is going to eventually like be seen as that once he does get the opportunities. Coming to our spices. Give me your spicy meatball.
Okay, I'm gonna do some honorable mention takes that I thought of, and I just either don't agree with it enough, or I don't think it's hot enough, or some combination. Terrell Smith, the highest ranked, or the second highest ranked corner PFF grade wise on the Bears.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah. Offensive line bottom 5 in the league by all measures.
Want to quickly just explain on the Terrell Smith thing. I see that because Tyreek Stevenson's going to be a little aggressive, which will lead to negative graded plays, whereas Terrell Smith
also qualifying. Smith qualifies and maybe takes some snaps from Stevenson is a part of that.
Yeah, I could see that too, but I could see like the aggressiveness biting him. Are we talking just coverage? Or are we talking all around? Because if we're talking all around,
because the run defense.
Okay, that makes it spicier because you got to talk about Kyler Gordon and what he does everywhere else. Continue.
Let's see. I'm going down the depth chart here. Torrey Taylor, first team All-Pro. I don't think that's spicy at all. I think that probably should have been my mild take.
Yeah, he's already the best punter in the league.
Ramo Odunze, fourth in Bears receivers in receiving yards. That was a joke.
In a season ever or rookie? I really hope he's like, if he's fourth as a rookie, that's bad.
On this team.
Oh, shit.
It's a joke. I don't agree. I don't actually believe that.
That would be bad.
Yeah. But man,
talking under 600 yards probably then at that point.
If he struggles a little bit, and Tyler Scott is doing a Johnny Knox impression, it's not crazy. I just don't really believe it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as somebody who liked Tyler Scott in the 4th round, no. Sorry, go on.
Last honorable mention take, Tremaine Edmonds, deserving Pro Bowler.
I could see that. And more I look back at some of the Tremaine Edmonds fading that we've done, the more I'm like, you know what, this might bite us in the ass.
Last spicy
honorable mention.
Last honorable mention, I'm sorry. Khalil Herbert leads the Bears in carries and all rushing statistics.
Is that spicy? It's not spicy for us. Probably spicy for Bears fan, but it's not spicy.
This is just shit I wanted to get out there. That I kept I don't actually have a take for him yet, so I'm just like going down the list, and like if it popped into my head, I'm saying it now. But my spicy take. Maybe this isn't spicy enough. I think it's spicy enough.
Do you want a minute to percolate? Because I can.
No, I got it. Zach Pickens, second on the team in pressures and sacks.
Oh, that would. Where's Gervon Dexter in this? Is it because Zach Pickens is so damn? I mean, even this would be spicy. Zach Pickens is so damn good that Gervon Dexter, who might also have been good, just it ended up being behind him because Zach Pickens just went insane? Or is this also we're fading Gervon Dexter a bit?
A little both. Too many unknowns. This is a little bit like what I was explaining about why I'm taking Michigan. I'm gonna zag where Wills is zigging.
So just a reminder to everyone listening, these are the things that we don't think will actually happen. So please don't get upset. That's spicy. Holy shit.
I think it's really easy to see the path though. I've said earlier on this before that I don't think that Dexter versus Pickens was decided last season, and everybody thinks it's been decided. The coaches think it has been decided by what the depth chart says. I still consider them two random ass guys that went around the same time in the draft a year ago and I still think Zach Pickens showed way more on tape in terms of explosion as in college. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, what makes it spicy is I have no idea what's going on, and I think he's hurt. He is hurt. I don't know when he's going to play. Also, on edge is probably just going to come in second, and I probably should have said Austin Booker because that's the fun one to say. But I'm gonna go Pickens. I'm gonna go the forgotten guy a little bit here. Nobody's expecting much. I'm gonna say Pickens is gonna.
Austin Booker would have been more mild medium, in my opinion.
No, because I think knowing what we know is what makes it spicy. Just because Bears fans actually do believe it's going to happen, they're all wrong. That would be crazy, actually.
Well, hold on. Hear me out, though. Knowing what we know is also the fact that we don't really have a good second pass rush option. It's all bets, right? And then DeMarcus Walker.
But the fifth-round rookie is not a good bet.
Austin,
the fifth-round rookie who straight up said to Montez Sweat on Hard Knocks, I just did long arm all the time.
That was funny as hell. But he does have some long-ass arms. He's got the trait there, and he's got pass rushing traits to be able to do it. But what I'm trying to say is easier to get pressures on the edge. So as long as he's able to do it better than DeMarcus Walker kicks in, right? So who's our edge on pass rushing downs? Domrob? As long as he can do it better than Domrob, there's a chance that just because he's playing on the edge and everything like that.
It's Terrell Taylor.
Oh, right. I already forgot that we traded for somebody. Fair. Okay. That makes a little bit.
I looked at every single name on our defensive line, 10 names, and I just thought, you know what? I'm going to go back to a thing I already said on this podcast about how I don't think Pickens versus Dexter is decided yet. I'm going to say Pickens.
I mean, that's spicy as all hell.
I'm not giving up.
I got to disagree strictly because, just looking at the preseason numbers alone, Pickens had 2 pressures on 47 pass rush snaps opportunities. Yeah, it's true. Dexter had 1, but it was only 18. So 1 out of 18 is it's for interior, it's fine.
He's all you got to do is be in the rotation and on this team.
It could really just come down to injuries too. So I get it. I'm not going to argue against it. This is a hot take. It's just holy shit, that was spicy. I don't know if I could beat that. I wish we ended on yours.
Mine's also too in the weeds. I feel to be the one to end it. It's just some guy nobody really cares about. And also, if you come on second on this team with pressures, it doesn't even really mean that you were good.
All right, you ready for this? I'm gonna hit you with something. Bears go to the NFC Conference Championship and lose, but we are the Lions of last year. Maybe not win the division. We'll figure that one out. But we go from a wild card team that gets up to the NFC Conference Championship, and we taste it. We are the team that nobody wants to play, right? You don't want to have to run into in the playoffs, and we prove that we are that team in the playoffs. And we lose to another NFC North team. I'm not going to say which one, but either the Packers or the Lions. And we allow one of them to go into the Super Bowl, and it will be crushing as all hell. But because it's the first year on this team, shit's going to look great. Yeah, and I am making all my takes are you guys are gonna hate it. Most people come up with hot takes that's oh, I can't wait for that. I'm just no, here's all the hot takes that's gonna make you hate your life for a second.
I'll
give you some optimism.
My honorable mention takes. My Odunze one was I only said it because it did go through my head, and I just I really don't think that, but it happened. Also, bottom 5 offensive line. Nobody wants to hear that, but that's. I just don't think that was spicy enough, honestly.
Yeah, I think
I had some downer takes. I'll say so. Yours is not a downer take in any way, shape, or form. First of all,
no. Both of them I think
making
are
the
optimistic
NFC Championship game.
They're optimistic takes, but they're going to be crushing in some way or another. Is what I'm saying.
I think in some ways it's spicier and also less spicy than my spicy take because I'm with you. I bury us early. I really do believe that.
When you said, I was like, "Yep."
They might do it.
Now with the schedule we got, Because even if we do, I mean, I said I disagreed with you for the last times. I actually agree with you because our schedule is pretty fucking favorable those first few games. So we don't get to the hard part until we get that momentum. Until we've gotten that experience. Until we've gotten to the point where it's like Caleb's gotten 10 games under his belt and maybe he's starting to feel himself. Right? Like, and he's got all the runway to gain that confidence that he might need. Playing some pretty, there's some mid teams. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sleep on the Colts here. Like, I think Colts could absolutely win the South if something happens with the Texans, right? There are some mid teams that could be good, but I don't see anything that, like, there's nothing that scares me, and there's some really bad. So, like, I don't even know if they can bury us early. So I don't believe this take because it is a hot take. Like, at best, I think we get to the divisional round, like we somehow win the wild card. Because the NFC is a little bit better than it was last year, right?
But then maybe we get to play the Falcons in the divisional round or something like that. Like it's like,
please. I don't see them coming through the wild card.
It's not that crazy.
I can go spicier.
Okay. No. It is exactly as spicy as what we should end on in spicy takes. I'm just saying, like, I think that's probably more likely than Zach Pickens actually coming in second in pressures and sacks.
I would agree. Yours is way less likely.
But also the weight of it is what, I don't think that's going to happen, but like, you don't have to squint that hard to see it happen. I don't know.
I think the impact would be. I think the impact is what makes it spicy. I would agree. Whereas, like,
if we are the 7th seed, the 2 seed is going to be shitting their pants because we will end on a run that is.
I agree, especially if it ends up being the Lions, because I also feel like
whoever it is, it could be the Cowboys, it could be the Eagles, then whatever. I mean, definitely not the Eagles, but it could be the Cowboys. They're not going to want to play us.
Yeah. The game's coming up. I was about to say we'll find out how I feel about the Packers if it's the Packers after I see what this defense looks like. And the game started, hasn't it?
Jaden Reed is in the red zone. Josh Jacobs is in the red zone. Check your matchup now.
So let's wrap up with this. I will say that I don't know about the Packers. If they're the 2 seed, I don't know how we'll match up. I want to see what this defense looks like. So I already told you I don't feel as optimistic, but a lot of smart people do.
All right, now you're going.
Yeah, so we'll see that. I'm just wrapping up. We'll see there, and we'll find out in this the game that's being played tonight.
I want two things really quick because we haven't done them. Score prediction for Sunday.
So I do have some bets on there. I have a parlay, in which I am very negative and positive towards the Titans, positive towards the Bears. I do think that we cover. I do think we win. I don't think the Titans score 10. This goes back to everything I was saying earlier. I don't think the Titans score 10. I think it's like 24 or 20 to 10. Take the under.
Okay. I'm going to go I'm not going to bet it because I think it's too close, but I'm going to go 23-17 Bears.
Didn't you say you didn't think they would cover?
Technically, I didn't. I said I'm not going to bet them to cover.
Okay, that's fair.
It's too close. I don't. It's. But like when I really think about it, like I think the Bears will make more out of their possessions than the Titans do. But I think the Titans will have the ball at the end, down by 6, and some could happen. Yeah, 23-17 seems right to me.
Cool.
Awesome. And finally, give me a Super Bowl pick.
I mean, it's hard not to say just KC. I'm sorry for the lame ass pick, but like, dude, with how they looked yesterday, their defense also. Packers.
I'm going Bengals over Packers.
That's spicy.
I don't think so.
Like the receivers we'll talk about outline.
Receivers are back on the field.
I mean, I agree there. I mean, I'm more worried about their defense. I don't know. I think the Bengals have taken just as much of a step back there as the Bills have. The only difference is, Burrow's got the weapons, but Josh Allen's Josh Allen. There's a reason why I have him a couple spots higher than Burrow.
It's a big old dog fight, and Chiefs probably won't win every year. They could, but that's boring. So I'm going to go with Bengals.
Yeah, fair. If I had to pick somebody that wasn't the Chiefs, it would be. God, it would actually probably be the Bengals, just because I want it to be the Bills.
Who's going to be Patty?
I want it to be the Bills, but they would have to not see the Chiefs.
Tom Brady could beat Pat Mahomes in the playoffs, and
No, you know what?
Joe Burrow could beat Pat Mahomes in the playoffs.
True.
Want to?
It's gonna be the Texans. I take the Texans. You and I see very differently. I might agree with you a little bit more on the defense because I forget about their linebacker situation, but see. Awesome, man. So that's our bold predictions. That's our season intro. That's week 1. Let's go. This has been Virginia's DMs. I'm Adam. That's Kevin. Thank you for listening.
Bye.